Mike Webb again. I'm running for the 93rd District of the state of Kansas. Hopefully if you guys are watching this, you've already watched enough to kind of know who I am and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going over my platform in different stages and trying to keep it short. And if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to submit them at contact@MikeWebbForKansas.com, or take a look at it. You can message me on Facebook, whatever you would like, prefer. I would love to hear your input and offer my responses to that. Criminal justice reform. I listened to the Jim Price show yesterday, and I mean, he was hitting it out of the park with some of the things that have been going on in the government system the judicial system, that need to be looked at. And this can go on and on and on, but at the end of the day, the answer to the criminal, the state legislator in the last session was looking at changing the good time from 15% and 20% to 50%. Well, it's been 50% for 30 years in California, and it's not lowered the prison population. The answer for lowering the prison population and canceling or minimizing recidivism is to build a pathway along the bottom that comes up. Now, obviously, the faster you can get it to rise, the better off you're going to be. But we're going to have to build this system. And criminal justice reform, just like any form of change, requires, what I like to tell people, rock bottom. Easier prison sentences are not the answer. I believe, in my personal opinion, that we need to go back to the old ways. We need to have the 2 to 10s and the 5 to 15s and the 6 to 20s or whatever they were, because people need to realize that we don't have to send you home if you're not going to work to be a better person. And that's what we want. This is Kansas. We're hard on crime, period. Okay? We don't like it. And that's another thing, too, that we need to get into is, did this crime hurt someone else? And what's actually a crime? And that's why in the Kansas Constitution, the Bill of Rights, number 12, was there shall be no forfeiture of a state for crimes. And what that means is that you can't take somebody's stuff for assaulting somebody. You can't take somebody's personal property. If they steal something, you take theirs. You can pay restitution, things like that for to repay or whatever. But weaponizing someone's property incentivizes the government to go after that property. And I was talking about earlier, just a second ago, about the definition of a crime. And the reason I say that is because in Oklahoma, Colorado, Missouri, Arkansas, Florida, California, Washington, Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, the list goes on and on, New York, the list goes on and on and on, where medical marijuana has been introduced. And now we in Kansas are prosecuting people for things that very likely they would be a patient for. And so that's pretty hard to swallow if you really take it all the way in. Because what that means is that we are feeding into the institution of breaking up the family unit, which I think is a huge problem that we have in America today, and what is happening right now is because we have incentivized to go take people's property, to break up their home, send them to prison, take their kids, put them into a failing system. Laura Kelly swore up and down she was going to fix the Department of Child and Families, the DCF system, and she hasn't done anything. Hundreds of kids were lost in that system. Lost. Let me say that again. Hundreds of kids are lost. Nobody knows where they are. Nobody's head rolled. Nobody got in trouble. The public had a brief outcry and then it was just over. It's not okay. That's not okay. And some of those kids got taken out of their home over something that probably wasn't a crime. It probably wasn't a crime. And in some cases, people get taken out of the home and there was no crime. And then they have to go through all these hoops and jump through these systems. Anyway, the family unit, breaking homes up, those crimes, that's all bad. But we need to define the difference between what hurts people and what doesn't. Because if junkies want to sit in their house and shoot heroin until they're dead, that's not my business. It's a sad deal. It's disappointing. I'm sad for their families. I have friends that we've lost to drugs, and it's a sad deal, but it's not my place. Just like it's not my place to force Christianity on another man. I can lead you to God and I can tell you about Jesus, but that is your choice. And that's specifically why God gave us that choice, because he wants us to choose for ourselves. You can't force people. And that's the problem. So you have to define something between crimes against people and crimes against themselves. And crimes against themselves, I mean, it hurts society because they're not a benefit to us, but they're not hurting anybody else as a whole, an individual. And so we need to start looking at that. We need to revamp the plea bargain agreement system because, if you tell somebody they're looking at 12 years, but then you offer them a plea bargain for 2 years, and then they decide to go to trial and you give them 12 years. See, the problem with that system is that the prosecutor would actually be saying, hey, this is worth 2 years to me, but if you exercise your rights, I'm going to multiply that tenfold. That's not justice. That's not justice. And the ultimate rule of law is the Constitution. And these institutions that we've built, the criminal justice system, the judicial system, is a system that we have built with the intention of being just. And we've gotten away from that. And we need to get back to justice. And so when it comes to the criminal justice system, that's what I think we need to do. There's a whole lot there. Like I said, a lot of people, they want me to keep these videos a little short. It's very difficult to be real specific about how we need to do these things. But I think industry is a good way. I think getting people from prison into work and into a positive environment is the way to go. And we can get some real results if we really start doing that and differentiate the difference between a non-person crime and a person crime. So thank you very much, and I'll be back soon to give you another video. Thank you.